Hey guys, Infidel here with SnyperMedia. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Crossbreed mini tuck. So let's just get started and jump right into it. This is the Crossbreed Supertuck Deluxe, previously reviewed here on SnyperMedia. The materials and the makeup between the two holsters, the Supertuck Deluxe and the Crossbreed mini tuck, are the same. They're both horsehide. They both have the Kydex holster on the front, which holds the gun itself. So I'm not going to go into real in depth into the materials of the Crossbreed mini tuck. If you want to know about them, go ahead and click on the annotation we have at the top of the screen here, and that'll take you over to the review of the Crossbreed Super Tuck. So the first point I want to hit on this holster is the concealability and the carryability of this holster. How easy is it to wear? How easy is it to keep concealed and not break concealment for a whole day of wearing it? And a lot of that, in my opinion, the ultimate factor that comes down to is the gun choice. What are you putting in it? The larger package you're carrying, the harder it's going to be to keep concealed for a whole day. If you're a bigger guy, you could get away with that. If you're a smaller guy, or maybe even a girl carrying this holster, it's going to be hard to conceal a large gun for a long period of time. You're going to want to look more towards the Kel-Tec PF9 or the Ruger LC9 kind of piece to carry for a long period of time. Space and weight restrictions, same thing. The larger a gun you're carrying, the more it's going to weigh and the more space it's going to take. And vice versa is true. The smaller a gun, the less space and the less weight. So we want to talk a little bit about the retention of this holster and just how well it's going to hold the firearm. One of the biggest things for a concealment holster, in my mind at least, is the retention and how well does it hold the gun. If you're going to be carrying for 10 or 12 hours in a day, you want to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that your gun is secure in the holster that you're using. So one of the things they send you when you order the holster is this letter titled "A Word About Retention." And I just want to read this one little paragraph in here. It says, after talking about covering everything with a damp cloth, it says to take a hairdryer and slowly heat the trigger guard area or the ejection port area where you'll soften the Kydex. Then at that point, when the Kydex is soft, you can lift it or push it further in to loosen or tighten the retention on the gun. If you're not comfortable with that, of course, they also say you can send it back to them. You'll end up paying the shipping fees, but they will do that for free for you. Aside from the shipping, it's all free. They'll adjust your retention. The second point about retention, if you went back and watched the Crossbreed Supertuck Deluxe review, you'll see that I talk about the leather backing being a very important part of the retention of the holster, that when you're wearing the holster, it pushes the back of the leather into the gun, and that's makes it a twofold retention system. One, the leather is being pushed into the back of the gun, and two, the Kydex, or the, I guess you could call it the active retention system, although it's still technically passive, holding the gun firmly in place around the trigger guard and around the ejection port area. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit as well about the combat cut versus non-combat cut, and I'm excited about this because when I did the review of the Crossbreed Supertuck, I did not have a combat cut holster to show you. Now I do. The Crossbreed Mini Tuck is combat cut, and the difference is the cutaway of the leather around the grip of the gun. The combat cut allows you to get a much nicer grip. It allows you to get a solid grip and to get your thumb on the backside of the grip as well, which the non-combat cut holster does not allow you to do. Your thumb ends up hitting the leather, and you have to actually pull the gun a little bit to get a grip on it and then pull it the rest of the way out, where with the combat cut, you can get a good solid grip on the gun and draw it entirely without having to give it a little bit of a half draw and adjust your grip. So you can draw it entirely from the holster with a good grip, whereas with the non-combat cut, you have to kind of give it a little bit of a half draw and then adjust your grip to get a good solid grip all the way around the firearm. I definitely would advocate the combat cut. I think it's a great option. I think it is easily accessible. I think it makes your firearm more readily available. Just a little bit. I mean, you know, it's going to be carried in the same spot, but maybe just that little bit of a half second on the draw could make a difference. They charge to do the combat cut, I think something like $7 or $8. And they do cut it away real nicely. It's a nice contour and a nice taper. They also treat the edge the same as the rest of the holster, so you're not going to get any fraying or anything like that. Do I think it's worth $8 to have a piece of leather cut away? I don't know that I do or that I don't. I definitely advocate the combat cut. I think it's a good option. I don't know that it's worth the price. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I could go either way with it. If you don't necessarily have the money for it, you can do it yourself. Just take a razor and cut it away. As long as you're confident, you have a steady hand, you can cut it away real nicely, and maybe even put a little leather treatment on the edge. You're not going to destroy the holster by doing that. Just be a little careful. It might be worth it to you to spend the money. But I do advocate the combat cut. I think it's a great option. Another thing I wanted to talk about, since I do have a little bit of a difference in the two holsters, as far as how much I've worn them and how often I've worn them. The supertuck I wore for about a month and a half before I started carrying my Kel-Tec on a day-to-day basis instead of my Glock on a day-to-day basis. So I had about a month and a half of wear on this. I still use it every once in a while, but I don't use it on a day-to-day basis like I did when I first got it. So like I said, I have about a month and a half of wear on it. You can see the leather is just a little bit contoured from being worn. Not a whole lot of black spots, sweat spots, anything. The leather's not real tarnished. On this side you can see just a little bit of wear where the gun sits, where the muzzle sits right there. You can see the wear on the holster. But if you look at the difference, this one I wear about 3 days a week. I wear an ankle holster the rest of the time, so I kind of will switch back and forth. But I wear this one about 3 days a week, and I have now for about 2 months. You can see where the back of the slide sits on the holster. You can see a dark spot there. Where the slide lock sits, you can see a dark spot. So it definitely, that's where the muzzle sits. You can see a dark spot. So it does get wear on the gun side. Also, you can see where there's a little bit more sweat, maybe a little bit darker spots from just being worn, from being used more than this one. So I wanted to show you side by side the effects of the wear when you use these holsters a lot. This one is, like I said, it was worn for a little while. I don't want to say it's barely worn. I wouldn't call it like new, but it's a lot closer to new than this one, and you can really see the difference of being used a lot on an almost day-to-day basis, or having been used for quite some time and kind of put on a shelf for a little while. I just wanted to show you guys too, before we wrap up, some of the literature they're going to send you with your holster. This is a letter from the manufacturer, very customer service friendly, telling you that this letter is your proof of purchase. If for whatever reason you have to send the holster back, that they will accept it. They'll do repairs to it, etc. This outlines the warranty for you and everything that can be repaired. Also tells you that they appreciate your feedback. So very customer service friendly letter, as well as the return form. If you do have to return it for any reason, if you have to return it for a refund or for a repair, they give you a space to write a description of why you're returning it or what needs to be repaired or what they need to look at specifically. Like I said before, if you have to get your retention adjusted and you want to send it in, you would send it with these two forms, your proof of purchase letter and the repair form. Also describes your customer responsibility. This is for international orders, returns and refunds, and customer responsibility, and all that. So I just wanted to show you those. You can expect to get those with your holster when you order it. So finally, we want to talk about the price point of the two holsters. As I said in the previous review of the supertuck, you pay, I think I paid about $90 for this holster, $85 to $90. Well worth the money, but you do pay for it. Just think that in just about everything that I know of in the firearm industry, in this hobby, this great hobby of ours, you get what you pay for. It's never failed, in my opinion. I've never found a product that was just absolutely outstanding and ridiculously cheap. I have found some good deals, but you know what I mean. You get what you pay for, and this holster is definitely a great example of that. Excellent quality piece of work, but you're going to pay for it. With the mini tuck, same thing. You definitely are going to pay for it. I think I paid about $65 for this holster, and that leads me into another point. If you are an NRA member or a LEO or military, they do have discounts. I don't know the LEO or military codes, but the NRA code, they're all 10% discounts on the holster. The NRA code, on your checkout, you just type in NRA into the notes, and they'll give you a 10% discount on the holster. So I wanted to throw that out there for you NRA members. I'll put that in the description down at the bottom as well. So don't forget to do that. Save yourself a couple bucks. We're looking out for you guys here on SnyperMedia. So with that said, we're going to wrap up the review. I just want to give a quick shout out. This is going to be our video number 10. So shout out to our subscribers. Thank you guys very much. I hope you're enjoying what we're doing. We're having a ton of fun with it. If you want to stay updated on what we're doing in the future, we're going to keep this up. So go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment with any questions, and we'll be happy to get back to you guys and answer any questions you have. This is Infidel with SnyperMedia. Have a good day.